Welcome to Reddit Guy, where we break down real stories from Reddit. If you enjoy real drama and honest discussions, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
Story 1. I gave a scammer emotional trauma. I will start by saying this very clearly. You should not do what I did. As a professional working in IT who has dealt with all kinds of security breaches, I am strongly not encouraging this. However, I was this close to being completely done with everything. Last week was my birthday. Yay, 30. As usual, tons of people forgot about it. I was born in the middle of New Year and post-New Year holiday celebrations in my home country. Between budgets being tight from all the December shopping and everyone visiting family during January, my birthday is often overshadowed. People just forget that I exist in January. I usually play it cool. I accept the, "Oh shoot, happy belated birthday" messages that sometimes come weeks later. But this time it was different. This was my 30s. It was my first year as a mom. I work from home with a toddler who is in her prime grabbing everything era. My bar is extremely low. Comment happy birthday under my Instagram post with a cake emoji and we are good. That is how low the bar is. And Janet, my best friend, forgot. She was away on a work trip, but we were chatting and I even sent her the post as a reminder. Janet saw it and definitely paid zero attention. She later apologized half-heartedly and typed, "We should celebrate when we meet again. It's never too late." Boom. I was covered in soup, spit, and disappointment when my phone rang. The number was from Uzbekistan. I know 2 people from there, and both are already in my contacts. Definitely a scam. And I picked up. The caller said, "Hello, this is ABC Telephone Company. Are you Sarah Jane Doe?" That is my big sister's name, obviously not her real name. I said, "No, and please do not call me again. Remove my number from your call list." The caller replied, "Are you related to Sarah Jane Doe? It is important information regarding her." At that point, I knew they were not going to drop it, so I decided I would make them wish they had. I said, "Yes, sure, it is regarding her, but what about me? I am so tired of being the bigger person." The caller said, "Excuse me?" I told him, "You heard me. Do you know how annoying it is that during the week of my birthday, the only person who called me was a frickin' scammer who probably got doxed information about my sister, who tried to drown me as a child and wished I was never born?" He said, I cut him off and said, "And when I vent to people, there is always someone who says, 'It's just a birthday. Birthdays are for kids anyway.' Screw this. I want one day in the entire year where I am not expected to be everyone's sweet, caring, loving, understanding friend who smiles and pushes forward." I kept going. I said my mother could not even congratulate me because she is a narcissist and her wishes were backhanded praises for herself. I said that after I finished with this call, I would still have to clean the kitchen again because soup was all over the floor and walls. I said I hate mess, I hate being alone, and I want to scream like there is a murder happening. I said some other things about my life and frustrations too, but this is already long enough. By the time I finished my rant, the scammer was sobbing into the phone. I disconnected the call and blocked the number. Do not try to scam overtired moms, scammers. We might let you see into the void we have had to deal with. I wish your 30s are better, fellow 96 babies. Have a great day. Comments. Commenter 1. My birthday is a week after New Year's Eve when everybody is completely partied out. I feel your pain. And so, happy birthday. It's not much, but I hope it at least made you smile. Reply from OP. Yeah, that's even worse. Having a birthday when everyone is too out of it is terrible. Thanks for the wishes. I'm probably going to bake a cake tonight or something. I want something nice for myself to look forward to. Commenter 2. Happy birthday. For what it's worth, my mother's birthday is December 29th, and she always felt forgotten too, so we started celebrating her half birthday every June 29th. Commenter 3.
My father's birthday is December 31st, and we always make sure to celebrate the day and early evening as Dad's birthday. We don't even mention that it's New Year's Eve until after 11 p.m. For us, New Year's Eve is just the hour before the new year starts. Wow, that's so sweet. Your dad is lucky. Personal commentary. Honestly, this story is funny on the surface, but it hits deep if you've ever felt forgotten on a day that was supposed to be yours. Burnout plus disappointment can turn even the calmest person into emotional chaos. Also, let this be a warning. Never underestimate a tired parent with unresolved feelings and a ringing phone.
Story 2. Am I the a-hole for being annoyed that my wife insists on cooking everything from scratch and won't buy normal food? I am a 35-year-old man, and my wife is 33. We have been married for 5 years. This feels kind of dumb to even be arguing about, but here we are. Over the last year, my wife has gotten really intense about food. She cooks everything from scratch now. Not just dinner, but literally everything. It started with bread, granola, cakes, and things like that, but now it has escalated to pasta sauces, potato waffles, and pretty much anything you can think of. Before anyone jumps on me, yes, her food is good. She is a good cook, and I know she puts a ton of time and effort into it. That is not the issue. The issue is that sometimes I do not want a homemade version of things. Sometimes I just want the normal, store-bought kind. Her argument is that she does most of the cooking and grocery shopping, so it makes sense to do things her way. She also says she does not want junk food in the house at all because it goes against her values. I do not understand that, but okay. What really bugs me is her solution. If I want junk food, she thinks I should eat it outside the house. So now, if I want a burger, chips, or anything like that, I end up grabbing fast food on the way home or eating snacks at work like I'm hiding it. That feels ridiculous to me. I'm an adult, not a kid sneaking candy, and it makes me feel deceptive. Whenever I bring this up, she says I'm being ungrateful and dismissing how much work she puts in. I don't think that's fair. I appreciate the effort she puts into cooking. I just don't want every single food choice to be homemade and healthy all the time. So, am I actually the a-hole here for wanting some normal, unhealthy food in my own house? Comments. Commenter 1. Not the a-hole. As a wife who loves to cook from scratch, there are times when Kraft mac and cheese sounds good or a frozen pizza hits the spot. That doesn't mean my homemade mac and cheese isn't better or that my fresh-made pizza isn't more delicious. Sometimes people just want what they are used to, or comfort food. You are a grown adult and should be able to eat those things in your own home. You are not a petulant child asking for goldfish crackers as your main meal. Try to talk to her and get to the heart of it, but remind her that just as she wants you to respect her cooking from scratch, having creature comforts for you to eat or prepare yourself is perfectly reasonable. You are not forcing her to eat them. Commenter 2. There are times when Kraft mac and cheese sounds good, or a frozen pizza sounds good. That doesn't mean my mac and cheese isn't better, or my fresh-made pizza isn't more delicious. I kind of disagree with this. If I'm craving a McDonald's Big Mac or a super greasy diner burger, a handcrafted gourmet grass-fed burger is not better. It's worse because it's not what I wanted. Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, I would prefer the Kraft burger. But sometimes you want the lower quality version because in that moment, it's actually the higher quality choice. Commenter 3. 9 times out of 10, I would prefer the Kraft burger. That's exactly what they meant by saying it doesn't mean my homemade version isn't better. You are saying the same thing they are, just using different words. Personal commentary. This really isn't about food quality, it's about control and choice. Wanting occasional comfort food doesn't invalidate the effort someone puts into cooking from scratch. When adults feel like they have to hide normal preferences in their own home, that's usually a sign the balance is off.
Story 3. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my boyfriend access to my bank account even though he says no secrets is how adults do it? I am a 27-year-old woman and my boyfriend is 30. We have been together for a little over 2 years. We live together and split bills pretty evenly, but we do not have any shared accounts. I make a bit more than him, about $15,000 a year more, but he has a stable job and always pays his share on time. The conflict started this week when he told me he wants us to be fully transparent financially because we are talking about getting engaged this year. I thought he meant sitting down together, pulling our credit reports, talking about financial goals and things like that. Instead, he asked for my online banking login so he could see everything in real time. I laughed because I honestly thought he was joking. He was not. He said couples who are planning a future should not have private money and that if I'm refusing, it means I'm hiding something. I told him I'm not hiding anything. I just do not want another person able to move money around or look at every grocery purchase I make at 11 p.m. He said he wouldn't touch anything and that he just wants visibility. I offered a compromise. I suggested we make a shared spreadsheet, that I could show him statements once a month, or that we could open a joint account just for rent and bills where we both put in our share. He got irritated and said that's not the same, and that my compromises are basically me keeping a wall up. Then he said something that made my stomach flip. He said, "If you trust me enough to sleep next to me, you should trust me with a password." I told him that is not how trust works, and I pointed out that I do not have his passwords either. He said I could have them anytime, and he acted like that proved he was the only reasonable adult in the room. I asked him why he suddenly needs this now. He said he doesn't want to find out later that I have debt, that I'm sending money to someone, or that I'm buying things I shouldn't. That felt gross, like I was being pre-accused of something. I told him I have no debt besides my student loans, my credit is fine, and I have never hidden purchases. He believes me, but that he wants receipts. Those were his exact words. I told him no, and that if he keeps pushing, I'm going to start wondering what he is trying to keep track of, because demanding my bank login is not normal. He got quiet and then went cold, like polite anger. He said I'm making a simple thing into a big deal and acting like he's some kind of thief. Since then, he has been sulking and making little comments like, "Must be nice having a private life," and "Guess we're not at that level." Yesterday, he even asked if I would be okay with him installing a budgeting app that links accounts so he could see the dashboard. I said no again. Now he says I'm sabotaging our future and that I'm being controlling by not letting him in. I feel like I'm losing my mind because I'm not saying we can't talk about money, I'm just saying I'm not handing over access to my actual bank account. So, am I the asshole for refusing and digging my heels in on this? Comments. Commenter Wharton. "No secrets is how adults do it" is code for "I have no justification for asking, but I'm demanding this nonetheless. You need a new boyfriend. This one is bad news." Commenter 2. "Even if it isn't theft, it could easily turn into, you said you were going straight home from work, but you bought something at this store." Or, "Who did you have lunch with at work? Was it the person I'm accusing you of cheating with?" Commenter 3. "Yes, I especially do not like his comment about wanting to see if she's buying things she shouldn't. He sounds like someone who is going to be massively controlling." Personal commentary. Financial transparency doesn't mean surrendering autonomy, and trust is not proven by handing over passwords. Wanting oversight of spending in real time crosses a line from partnership into control. If someone frames your boundaries as sabotage, that's usually a warning sign, not a misunderstanding.
Story 4. My husband doesn't want anyone I work with to know we're married. My husband is a notoriously private person. For example, he has social media profiles but does not share content. He is also very strict about keeping his private life separate from his professional life, and he has been very clear that he expects the same from me. The problem is that we both work in the same field, and he regularly works with some colleagues of mine. My husband requested that I not mention his name or background at work since he felt like that would disclose too much personal information, and he wants to appear impartial. I work for a large firm and in a different branch than the one he deals with, so I did not expect that to be an issue at first. A few months ago, he started working with Jeff, a colleague of mine from another team who I had met at an after-work event a few weeks earlier. Jeff is a great guy. My husband enjoys working with him, and whenever I bump into Jeff at the office, we always end up chatting.
My husband asked me not to let Jeff know about our connection, which was fine at first since I was talking to Jeff more about personal stuff anyway, like how his weekend was. So the fact that my husband worked with him did not feel relevant at the time. As I got to know Jeff a little better, I told my husband I would prefer to let him know that we are married, but he insisted on keeping things strictly professional. That started to feel kind of weird for me since, at this point, Jeff is a colleague I am very cordial with. We are even talking about meeting outside of work this summer. We have followed each other on social media, and he has told me in detail about his wife and kids. Lately, my husband has been having several meetings a week with Jeff, and now Jeff is starting to refer to their project and my husband went talking to me. He even showed me an email from my husband because he wanted to share something funny my husband wrote. I sat there with a straight face, having to pretend I did not know my own husband. At this point, I worry that Jeff will be weirded out when he finds out. What if he runs into us when we are out together? I feel like the email incident switched the whole situation from information I did not share because I deemed it irrelevant to lying by omission. Do you have any advice on how to handle this? Should I refrain from hanging out with Jeff? I really want to be respectful towards Jeff and not lie, but I do not want to share anything my husband does not want me to. If you would like to throw this to the readers, I would also like to know what people would think if they were Jeff in this situation, and how they would respond if at some point our relationship came out. Update. Thank you for publishing my letter. It was quite reassuring to read that this particular request from my husband was giving others pause as well. There was a lot of speculation in the comments, which was quite amusing to read, and lots of excellent points being made too. I do want to add that my husband has always been very conscious about sharing private information, but to be clear, he has never hidden the fact that he is a married, straight man. He just will not go around telling his coworkers my name or my employer. Like he said, this was more of a husband problem than a work problem. As recommended, I had another sit down with my husband and explained again why the situation made me uncomfortable and how awkward this could be for Jeff as well. I wish I could tell you that this fixed everything, but it did not. The argument actually got a little heated and we could not get on the same page. This might sound unbelievable, but my man is generally emotionally intelligent, one of the many qualities I adore in him, and yet I could not get him to see things from mine or Jeff's point of view. I cannot remember there ever being a subject between us where it was so hard to find common ground, and we have been a great team through far worse. Disappointing, sure, but it is what it is. I did let him know that I would not be crossing that line of lying, implicitly by omission or explicitly, again with Jeff. He was not happy about it, and I was not either, but at least it was clear where we both stood on the matter. A few weeks after that, Jeff found out anyway, as I always assumed would happen at some point. It's really hard to keep a mutual connection secret in this day and age. Jeff asked me about it at a company event, and I kept it very matter-of-fact. I said, yes, that is my husband. He prefers to keep that information private. Kind of weird, but oh well. And that was it. Jeff made no fuss about it, so if he thought it was weird, he kept it to himself. Jeff has not brought it up with my husband either. My husband knows the cat is out of the bag because I told him, and he got a little huffy at first, then dropped it. I see Jeff weekly at tennis now, and all is well. I'm a bit more mindful than usual about the things I share, but we have plenty of other common interests to talk about, so my husband really doesn't come up as a topic of conversation. Not the most exciting of updates. Sometimes you're just going to clash with your person. Comments. Commenter 1. I cannot relate to the letter writer's view at all. I'm completely baffled about why he would want this information to be kept a secret and why he is mad that this perfectly ordinary, mundane information is now known. It's so weird. Reply from original poster. Letter writer 1 here. I should add that I never felt like he was keeping me secret, as he was happy to introduce me to his friends and family very early into our relationship. His need for privacy seems very much related to the professional field, and generally I don't really care. It was really bothering me with this particular colleague though. Thank God that's settled now. Jeff and I are cool, and so is my husband. Commenter 2. Yeah, while I agree with everyone that the attachment to a privacy that is bound to be discovered anyway is super weird and baffling, the original poster is confident sharing their feelings and clearing the air when a mutual agreement is not working. The original poster is clearly surprised by the depth of stubbornness here, which shows she usually gets a different response from him in 99% of situations. I'm also a big fan of her solution. She was willing to respect his feelings when it was harmless, but then when it affected her and others negatively, she simply stated her boundary of "I'm not doing that" and left his feelings on the situation as his own to manage. It's surprising how many people don't know how to do that and think they either need to submit or argue. It's also incredibly healthy that she's solely focused on the practical outcomes of needing to feel good about her interactions and is not wasting energy judging her husband. Reply from original poster. Letter writer 1 here. I do have to admit that it took me way too long to arrive at that conclusion. This had been going on for months, and to think of all the energy I wasted worrying about this. It was definitely a lesson for me as well going forward, not to try and figure out some sort of compromise where there was no compromise to be found. It was such a relief when it all came down to you do you and I'll do me, and we will both just have to live with that, especially when it comes to something that isn't going to matter in 5 years. Commenter 3. He wants to appear impartial. Nothing makes someone look impartial like being caught covering up a relationship. Personal commentary. This situation feels less like a workplace issue and more like a clash between privacy and practicality. The husband's insistence on secrecy created more awkwardness than transparency ever would have. In the end, the calm boundary the writer set turned out to be the healthiest resolution, even if it was uncomfortable at first.
That's the full story. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. More Reddit stories coming soon.